summer is not a time to disappear from the business. Summer is the window to work on the business, not just in the business. So summer can feel like the off season, but for a founder, summer is often where that next season gets built. If education sales has you second guessing yourself, take a breath. This is a trust first, relationship driven market, and the old tactics, they don't translate. This show replaces guesswork with clarity and a customer acquisition system that builds a pipeline you can trust. I'm Josh Chernikoff, two-time education founder with 2 exits and a lead gen coach for companies in education. Through my EdSales elevation experience over the last 2 years, I've coached 210 companies to leads on repeat. In 2025 alone, I delivered over 2,600 hours of coaching to education companies. My co-host is John Gamba. He also has a successful exit, and now he's the Director of Innovative Programs and the Entrepreneur in Residence at Penn's Graduate School of Education. This is the only show dedicated to customer acquisition for education companies, so consistent listeners go from stalled deals to clarity, credibility, and a pipeline they can rely on. This is EdSales Edge, where education company founders earn their edge. Hello, everybody. Welcome back in to the EdSales Edge live. It's been a while since I saw John, exactly 2 days, right? Because today's Tuesday.
Yeah, it was great. Great to see you, Josh.
Yeah, it was awesome. John and I got to go see each other and have dinner at a really wonderful Italian restaurant in Georgetown. And so, I've said this before, and I firmly believe it. One of the really important parts of this show is that we have respect for each other on and off the court, and it really showed on Sunday when we got a chance to hang.
It was awesome. It's awesome to see you and break bread, see you in a better place than you've been. It was all good.
Yeah, it was the first time. I told John this was the first time I've been out since my surgery. And that was on May 1st. And I was kind of testing my limits in terms of being in a big, beautiful restaurant and having to speak up. And I have found since the triple bypass surgery that one of the most challenging parts is really just keeping my energy up and speaking. And one of the things I love doing is having a lot of energy and speaking.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out what the new normal is. But we had a great time.
Great time.
Yeah, cool. Well, when we talk about our relationship on and off the field, we can also talk about that there's no off season for being friends. And how's this for a segue? That there is no off season for being a business owner. And today we're talking about teacher founders, which is something new for us because I've begun to really work with a lot of these folks in the entourage. These are teacher founders, teacherpreneurs. And today we're going to talk about how summer is not the off season and why teacher founders should use this season to sell, to think, and to build before the fall hits. Before I kind of get into any of that, anything you want to say about teacher founders, teacherpreneurs?
Yeah, we have, first of all, a lot of them associated with us through our programming. So Casey Cooney from WIT, a Milken semifinalist, Stephanie Newman from Literacy Tree, the great Anurupa Ganguly from Prisms of Reality. Really amazing. And I like to say that teacher founders are my favorite because you can teach them entrepreneurship, but you can't teach an entrepreneur the experience that's had in classroom management, in managing parent relationships, in getting things done in a 24-hour day, in how do you manage the fact of going to school when you're scared that there could be a school shooting, right. The extremes of being a teacher really parallel in a lot of ways the extremes of being an entrepreneur. So I love working with teacher entrepreneurs and figuring out how to apply what they've learned in their art and their craft in the classroom to actual an investable, scalable, and sustainable business. So really, really an art and an honor and a pleasure to support, mentor, be on the journeys of so many teacher founders.
And when we think about their journey, and this comes from conversations that I've been having, summer is here. Teachers are exhausted. School leaders are closing out for the year. Education founders are tempted to slow everything down. That makes sense. Parents are shifting into summer mode. Both of us are. And so the rhythm changes. And these teacher founders, they need a break. They should rest. They should be with their family. They should recover from the year. But you could also frame it as also, and summer is not a time to disappear from the business. Summer is the window to work on the business, not just in the business. So summer can feel like the off season, but for a founder, summer is often where that next season gets built. And I had this myself in my tutoring business a lot. And I wish, when I look back on that business, would have done this part of my business differently. Every summer when I ran the tutoring business, I always encouraged families to do tutoring. We can work on math, we can work on reading, we can work on the summer packets, and I would just lose parents. And they wouldn't reply to emails or they wouldn't return calls, and I would just dig in further and try and reach them. And if I could do it over again, what I would do is yes, continue to encourage parents that we could help them avoid learning loss over the summer for their kids, but also just spend more time building the business and working on the business, not in the business. And I didn't have that ability then. Obviously, I have that ability now. So maybe this is not an either or, and I know you're a big fan of generally it is a both. Yes, sell where there is real summer demand, but also use this window to sharpen the business before fall hits. Did you have that experience in your business where you had an off season, or were you grinding and doing different things at different times?
Let's just first level set on this because I think it's important. Calendar year, January, we're coming out of the holiday vacation time, and sales in EdTech get really hot. It's time then to demo your product, demonstrate the features and benefits, solution sales, relationship sales, developing campaigns, getting your signature solution, really going hard. April to June, right where we are now, there's a lot of use it or lose it money that needs to be spent. So I want to be careful that when we say summer, I don't mean prior to July 1.
Fair.
I mean post July 1, because right now is a critical time, and I'm seeing it with EdTech solution providers where they're going into their superintendents, the decision makers, and saying a lot of your budgets will that need to be spent before the end of this fiscal year. You've seen a few demos. You wanted to go forward with the pilot. Can we move forward? And I'm seeing that get done, and that's pretty typical in EdTech. We're at the tail end of that process, but January to April, demos, relationship management, lead generation. April to June, you're closing. You're trying to close. And right now, we're really in the midst of, if you've got someone that's really close, you may want to ask that question. Is there any use it or lose it money in your title funds, or any use it or lose it money in your general fund that could be used to move forward with this? July to September, absolutely into calibration of your business. You stated it very well, Josh. And that is the time to really think intentionally of what product or feature do we want to add that's really going to add painkiller to this medicine, right? What are we going to add here that we heard during this year when we were frazzled with sales, that if we could add this, it's going to induce somebody to further consider a sale? What can we do to bring back and bring together our team to re-look at our OKRs and our KPIs, our objectives and key results, and our key performance indicators? What can we do to get ready for that next ramp-up season, which tends to be that August, September time frame before everything shuts down again around Thanksgiving?
Quick pause. If this is already hitting you, if you're realizing you don't want to disappear this summer, but you also don't want to burn yourself out, we're putting together something simple for you. It's called the 90-Day Founder Challenge. It helps you decide what to sell, who to focus on, what relationships to build, and what rhythm to follow over the next 90 days. Text 90 days to 771-333-4233 and we'll send it to you. And if you're a teacher founder who wants help thinking through your next 30 days, text me too. All right, let's get practical. It's so interesting. I thought you were going a different route because I remember specifically with my aftercare business, but also with the tutoring business, that I would have these conversations about calendars with my accountant. You know, are we talking calendar year or we're talking school year? Well, I think it's school year. And I think it's school year and the seasonality that you just described for sure. So I'm with you on that. When I think of teacher founders, often they fall into kind of three traps. Okay, trap number one, they keep pushing the wrong offer. That was me, right? They keep trying to force summer demand. They treat every parent or school as if they're still in buying mode. And to your point, buying mode does end. They disappear completely. No business rhythm, no outreach, no messaging, no planning, God forbid, no LinkedIn. Oh my gosh. And they only work in the business. They deliver, they answer messages, they react, they serve the people who are already in there, but they do not step back to improve the actual machine, which is what you just referenced. A better path might be, to create a simple rhythm, a different rhythm for the summer, to recognize that you need rest and, bro,
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
hey, I just had triple bypass surgery on May 1st. So I'm 45 days out, maybe 46 days out. So I believe in rest, but a rhythm that lets you sell where there is real demand. And that feels good, where there is real demand. And then think where there is space, that you can create a stronger business. So you are doing both at that point. Is there, obviously you're familiar with the term summer brain drain. We used to talk about it a lot in the tutoring business. Is there summer brain drain? Is it possible for a founder to have summer brain drain if they kind of turn it off from, say June 15th through August 15th? From a business owner standpoint, can you have brain drain? Can you kind of lose the energy and the momentum and things like that? Is that real?
I think so. Regardless of the type of founder you are, I think, this is a sticky business, right? You got to always be on, but the ones who are successful can compartmentalize and also take a break, like you said, so they don't kill themselves. It's tricky, back to what we've always said, the paradox of humility and will. When is it time to be coached and to take direction? And when is it time to just pull that all-nighter and run through that wall because you got to get the deal done? I don't have an easy answer on that one. I tend to be go, go, go. I tend to be a million miles a minute. I tend to be no stop, nonstop. And I would say that work ethic really contributed to my major exit. But I would also say that had a major strain on my family, on my relationships, on my stress, on my health. And so I think the lesson learned there is a bit of moderation. Brain drain, it's a tricky word.
I'm just talking about the concept,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
slowing
totally,
down, obviously.
totally. I think you can. I think you can manage against brain drain if you do and you use the tips and tools that you've shared on the show and you share in your coaching.
Yeah. Safe to say, and again, we just give it to you as real as we can here. We shoot our shots, so to speak. That we are not the best people to talk about rest.
Right.
Again, I firmly believe that having run businesses since 2008, one tutoring, one aftercare, that contributed to having a triple bypass at 46. And you were alluding to some challenges that you've had in life and at home, and yes, coupled with a major exit, life changing. So rest is tricky. If we could build a practical summer plan for our teacher founders, I think that's helpful. One area of work I already talked about is sell where there is real signal. Don't necessarily do what I did, which was just trying to sell to every single person who was on our list who I thought wanted tutoring. Sell where there is a real signal. If parents are looking for summer tutoring, go with that. If a school is looking for summer PD, sell summer PD. And also, do not confuse silence with failure.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't checking their email right now, but the ones that might be looking for what you have to offer are going to be interested, are going to reply, and probably have budget and can move quickly. And this is exactly why we've been building the education sales entourage, because a 90-day plan is helpful. But a 90-day plan inside the right room is much more powerful. You need a place to bring your questions, your target buy, your offer, your messy message, the thing you keep circling but haven't acted on yet. That's what the entourage is becoming, a working room for education founders. So if you're already inside, use the room. And if you're not yet, go to school.com/entourage. All right, back to the show. What do you think is an urgent problem what is an urgent problem that you are seeing that needs to be solved right now? It is June 16, 2026.
School well-being, student well-being, school and student well-being, and that is this crisis related to screen time, and this crisis related to mobile phones, this crisis related to AI hysteria and mania. And so, what are the positive applications of AI, and what are the negative implications of AI, and how is it affecting our students in a real and rational way? Those who are working on programs there to increase the aptitude and the competencies of students, while being mindful that screens and apps and programs could be the junk food or the lead in the gasoline of the past. And we need to really be mindful of that and distinguish between a fad and something that looks cool and an angry bird that says, congratulations, 10 points for solving that problem, motivation, and actual pedagogical alignment, and solving a real world problem. Mental health, MTSS, supporting students who learn differently. These are, I think, critically important, and I think on the minds of most superintendents, most buyers that are out there, is how can you offer me a solution that's going to help me with my literacy crisis without exacerbating the challenges related to screens and the poison and the algorithms that are going into the minds of these kids.
So from that, and again, this is recorded June 16, 2026, so what John says now could be very different a few months from now, and this will get released. You will have some topic that you could target depending on who you serve and what problem you solve, that you could use right there. You also need to always be thinking about who you target. And I had a conversation with the great Dr. Jared Bloom, who you and I met at IEI from Franklin County, and Dr. Bloom talked all about the fact that target me, find, and build a relationship with me, and think about who you target. And summer is a good time to do research around what somebody might value, what outcome they might value, what pain they have, what's their urgency going into the fall. And you can start casual conversations, which is nice. And so something to think about also is, who is your target? That could be summer work area number 2. Summer work area number 3, tighten your offer.
Yeah.
What exactly are you selling? What is the transformation? Can someone explain it after hearing it once? And I wanted to stop here because when we think about your major exit, was it hard for people to explain what you did when you sold to principals? Or was that something you made sure before you walked out of that principal's office that they could explain it themselves?
Yeah, I mean, we're 20 years in now, right? First and only school-to-home communications network that allowed principals to record a personalized voice message in under a minute and at a moment's notice in the event of the unthinkable.
Yep.
Requires no hardware, no software, no additional phone lines to operate. Like, comes right out like riding a bike. So absolutely have to have it solid. Features, benefits, value, punctuated by videos of how schools were using it in the events of the unthinkable, so that it became story-based and tactile.
Yeah.
Felt it in their guts. The demos were both irreverent, provocative, and impactful. We had phones ringing in the meetings, at the right time to show that it actually worked. So, I think you need to be super prepared. But to the theme of this show, come July, when things really shut down, how can you really make that the moment where you're not being impulsive and compulsive about what you're doing? That's a time to become intentional. What is the real value that we're delivering? How can we measure that value? How can we deploy that in a way that will have bite to compress that contact to contract, to close pilots more easily, to get to the point where you have a trusted relationship where that buyer, that customer, will actually pick up the phone and call their neighbor the next district down and say, you have to try this, it really works. And these are good people to do business with. They are intentional in what they're delivering.
The reason I asked John that question is because I'm always fascinated. I love when founders, whether they are in the midst of building their business or they have exited years later, can say, I help who, using what method, get which results. What's your headline? What's your offer? What's your transformation? John has got it down. I've got it down. I love going to conferences and asking people, what's your transformation? Who do you help? What results do you get? So you can spend some time over the summer, if you're a teacher founder, looking in the mirror and literally telling yourself, practicing putting out your hand for the next conference you go to in the fall, saying, I help who, using what method, get which results. You can also create a 90-day plan. Not the whole year. 90 days is a good place to start. A good place to create a 90-day plan, do it by the pool. Cool. You can see John and I. We enjoy the sun carefully.
Yeah, carefully.
SPF 80. But we enjoy the sun, so do it by the pool. But do not wait until the fall to plan for the fall. Some planning that you could do is your weekly outreach rhythm, your LinkedIn rhythm, your email rhythm, your sales conversation Practice it. Practice it with yourself. Practice it with somebody at the pool. Your follow-up list. What are you
Your
going to say?
OKRs, right? Come up with what is your vision, your mission, your core values, and what are your OKRs. Come up with that. Come up with those with your team. And for people who need some training on that, on how to do that well, watch the 17-minute TED Talk on OKRs by John Doerr, and measure what matters. Google, Bono, Penn GSE, Catalyst. We use a theory of coming up with OKRs, and then dig in a little bit and go to the John Doerr Institute, and there are ways. There's a science to coming up with simple, actionable objectives and key results that don't have to feel bureaucratic or big six. No offense to the big six, big accounting firm, but you can have fun with it. But if you don't have, a North Star for your business, and your team isn't aligned on exactly what you need to do to achieve your objectives, how are you going to raise capital? How are you going to put yourself in a position to achieve a Series Seed round, or a Seed Plus round, or Seed A round, or a Series A, without having clear objectives and knowing how you're going to measure those objectives? I mean, you have no chance if you're an ed tech provider and you're delivering a solution that has no way of measuring the value. Your company better have that as well. And so I think the summer is a good time to set those as well. It's not always easy in September when you're flying around and trying to close deals in early June on use it or lose it budgets, but now is the time to really have that sort of come to Jesus, if you would, with your team, to really say, let's map out what this next 90 days are going to look like, what this next year is going to look like. I feel that's really important.
Quick pause before we wrap. This is the work we help founders do inside the EdSales Revenue Machine and the Education Sales Entourage. Get clear on your perfect client. Tighten your offer. Build the right relationships. Create the rhythm. And stop guessing alone. If you want the simple planning tool from today's conversation, text 90 days to 7713334-233. We'll send you the 90-day Founder Challenge. And if you want the room where founders are doing this work together, go to school.com/entourage. All right, let's close this out. As we close this one out, let's not forget, it's always fun to build with others. So when we think about that, why don't you talk about your community and the Penn folks and the Catalyst folks, and then I'll talk about the entourage. But if you're going to create a 90-day plan, do it surrounded by other people in a community. John, you take the lead here.
Yeah, so Catapult, our advanced member program, is a great way. And you can, just Google Penn GSE or Catapult Virtual Accelerator. And, we have resources inside our virtual accelerator that give people templates and guidance on things like creating OKRs or a lean canvas, or how do you know your features and benefits do have bite and are sellable. So those are the resources. You're a meaningful part of that, Josh, as a sponsor. So thank you for that. An advisor to many of our mentees and the ventures that come through our programs. But yeah, that's Catalyst at Penn GSE and our Catapult Virtual Accelerator.
Cool. We've got the Entourage, which is our community. It's a free community. It's a free school community, SKOOL community. And I want to talk directly to the 67 people who have joined the Entourage since June 1st. Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, that's awesome.
We're happy to have you. Some things to do inside the Entourage this summer. Post what you're working on. Ask the question you keep circling. Bring your perfect client, bring your offer, bring your messy message. Bring the thing you are avoiding, because we are all avoiding something when it comes to our business. Use Coach Ed. Coach Ed is there to help all the time. Come to the calls. Comment on the founder's work. the other members of the entourage and let the room sharpen you. So we are up to almost 550 members of the entourage. I'm very proud of that. We started it back on February 15th. And again, we've had some explosive-ish growth since June 1st because of the teacherpreneurs that we have begun to turn towards. And I'm really proud of that as well. And I know you serve them as well. So it's beautiful outside where I am. I know you're up in Philly, and so I don't want to keep you too much longer. I'll give you the second to last word here on this one. What have you got to say as we close this one out, John?
I think it's, again, the intent, the word that's coming to my mind is being intentional. Summer is a time to kind of take a breath, but also be intentional about how you're calibrating your business, how you're working together at a team to come up with some new goals, and how what plotting your course for the next school year, I think, is critically important. And also recognizing what you asked earlier, Josh, which is what are school districts, your buyers, thinking about right now? And I think student well-being is a really hot topic, and how you can frame your features and benefits around that, I think, is critically important. It's a great topic. Thank you for bringing it to bear today.
Cool. I'm going to end with a challenge.
There you go.
Okay? Something very simple. Do not rebuild your entire business this summer. Just work on a 90-day plan. Keep it simple, not a 12-month fantasy, not a giant strategy document, just a 90-day plan. So over the next 90 days, sell where the demand is real. Choose one target buyer. Clarify one offer. Build one relationship list. Create one weekly visibility rhythm. We believe in the power of one. Inside the entourage, I know you believe in it as well. So I hope that people take on that challenge and wear your SPF 80 and get out there and enjoy the sun. We appreciate you joining us. Thank you. All right, that's it for this episode of the EdSales Edge. Thanks for joining us. If you sell into education, the goal of this show is very simple: to help you stop guessing what actually moves deals in a system where trust matters. If you want to go deeper, join us inside the Entourage, our private community for education founders and operators selling into schools. You'll see the details in the show notes. If this episode helped you think more clearly, that's great. Subscribe, like it, and share it with another founder in the education space. Until next time, get clear, build trust, set up a system for sales, and keep earning your edge.